Records are on.
It's on.
Okay, Mayor Sotelo-Solis, if you'd like to.
Great. Launch this thing off and just say, yay. Thank you again all for being here today for our joint social services transportation meeting. I'm Alejandra Sotelo-Solis, the mayor of the city of National City, vice chair of MTS, and second vice chair for Sandags executive board. So lots of hats. I'm a mom. I'm 3 kids distance learning. So I'm a cafeteria lady, the nurse, and taxi cab driver when it need to be. But that being said, I think it's super important that we have these joint meetings because we don't work in silos, and we all have intersections of the constituents we serve, the services that we provide, and how we can maximize and leverage those efforts to make it most effective, efficient, and providing the best service that we can to improve quality of life for our constituents. So I want to say thank you to everyone for being here. We're very excited to have this joint meeting of the Sandags Social Services Transportation Advisory Council, and also lovingly known as SSTAC, Facilitating Access and Coordinating Transportation Council on Access and Mobility, also known as FACT, and the Metropolitan Transit Systems Accessible Services Advisory Committee, ASAC, and North County Transit District's Americans with Disability Act Advisory Group. So lots of acronyms, lots of alphabet soup, but the whole point of this meeting is to really highlight what we're all doing in coordination, and also to just highlight those major issues that we see as of importance for our constituents. So thank you all, thank you to staff, and I kick it back over to, I believe it's Megan, but I will just kick it over to whoever needs to go. Thank you.
Sure, this is Lisa Madsen with
Lisa.
with Sandag. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Sotelo-Solis. So welcome again, everyone, to this special joint meeting of SSTAC, CAM, ASAC, and the ADA Advisory Group. As this is a joint meeting, things will operate a little differently. So we will not be holding a quorum, roll call, or voting on anything since this is a special joint meeting. The January SSTAC meeting recording is available online, and we will vote to approve the minutes from the January meeting at the May SSTAC. And so I'm just going to go over some quick instructions for our virtual meeting. This meeting is being recorded. Because this is a new process for us all, I'm going to go over some basic instructions for both council members and members of the public to participate today. So everybody is going to be kind of a member of the public today. So those who would like to virtually attend may comment by raising their hands in Zoom. To do so, click on the raise hand icon at the bottom of the toolbar. If you are participating by phone, press *9 to raise your hand. When the chair recognizes you, you will be unmuted by staff and can make your comment. For every agenda item, the chair must request public comments, and this must be stated clearly on the record. We need to state that either there are none for the record or that we have public comments. And thank you, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. So I think we can move over to item number 2. All right, were there any public comments, communications, or member comments? Hi, Arun.
Thank you, Lisa. And thank you, Mayor Sotelo-Solis. I appreciate this opportunity to meet with all the groups together. I think this is a wonderful idea, and I hope we will do this again. Thank you.
Thank you, Arun. Were there any other comments? A couple of people reached out to me before the meeting.
Hey, Lisa, this is Mayor Sotelo Solis, and I just wanted to share that this is a great opportunity. I shared it earlier, but was one of the things that we as all groups within our municipalities and within our own service orgs, I think it's really important that we do this, maybe if it's annually, or biannually. I think it's really good to have this opportunity just to be meeting of the minds. This is what's happening. And we can also put faces to names. So I'm really proud to have urged. And somebody says, I like the 1 o'clock meeting time. So I think that's all positive. Bring your own lunch, BYOL. All right. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. So who else has
Lisa, is Casey on the line? I know she wanted to speak as well.
Okay, great. Casey.
Hi, my name is Casey Rodville. I'm a peer liaison from RI International. I'm just commenting that we have kits called Boots on the Ground kits. And in these kits, they have hand sanitizer, water bottle, keychain, helpful information, mask, notebook, and other resources. And I will also put RI International's contact information in if you have a curiosity about the kits. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey.
And Lisa, we have Viri Diana hand up.
Okay. Viri, would you like to speak?
Hello. I have a comment, but Debbie is gonna help me with Debbie.
Oh, yes. Brian, Debbie Marshall actually reached out to me this morning and said that she would be assisting Viri with her comment. So I don't know if we can give Debbie, call on her to speak.
I believe I've unmuted Debbie.
Thank you.
There you go. Debbie, I believe you're unmuted.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. All right. Hello, my name is Viri Salgado, and I live in the San Diego County area. A couple months ago, I was invited to participate as a volunteer to test out the new MTS Access website. After some troubleshooting, I was able to register and create an account. I've been using this online platform to schedule my rides as needed, and I find it very useful since I have difficulty communicating over the phone. The website itself still needs some adjustments and improvements to make it less confusing for other clients to use. Next, I'd like to share 2 other past experiences concerning my safety while utilizing MTS services. 7 years ago, I was volunteering at a hospice care administration office. I was an office assistant for a volunteer manager for a whole year doing office work. Back when I was able to use the public transportation on a daily basis and as my main source to getting to and from places. One day when I was waiting for the bus to go back home, I had an incident. As I got on the bus, I tapped my compass card, and while trying to walk through the front aisle, I noticed it was too crowded. All of the front seats were taken and no one offered their seat for me. I used to always rush to take a seat because most drivers tend to take off right away rather than wait for everyone to be seated. Since all the front seats were taken, I had to walk to the middle and the back of the bus to find a seat. It was really hard to walk through the aisle because people had big bags laying in front of their feet, blocking the floor. I had to dodge the bags as I tried to walk, and somehow my foot got caught on one of the straps of the bag. So I lost my balance after taking a step, and I fell forward, hitting my forehead on the floor. It hurt. It was embarrassing, and it was scary. I got up as soon as I could, avoiding the pain and the people staring at me. I was able to get a seat and got home okay. I took the following photo right after, and then there's a photo of her forehead that was injured. I went online to search for an email to report the incident, and I found out about MTS Access, and so I decided to give it a try. After my fall on the bus, I felt very nervous to ride that particular bus route again because I felt scared of falling and having people stare at me. I basically felt less confident to continue riding the public bus. I also didn't want to take that bus home because it was hard for me to cross the street at Arrow Drive. That traffic light is always too short and didn't allow me enough time to completely cross the wide street to catch a bus on time. Arrow Drive is very busy and transit street. I reached out to my regional center worker and was able to qualify for MTS Access services. I had to pay for tickets out of my pocket because the regional center was covering my Compass card and they only pay for one service. I wanted to keep my Compass card because I wanted to get to my volunteer work on time. Therefore, I took MTS Access just to go back home from my volunteer work in the afternoon, but it added up and it was too expensive. At that time, I needed both services, a Compass card and MTS Access tickets. I think it's unfair that while not having any income, I was being limited to only one service to be covered. I started using MTS Access more frequently right after I got hired to work at Ready Stamps because I was informed about subscription rides and I received help to set them up. I've been riding MTS Access for 5 years now, and now they have a contract with Yellow Cab and I ride taxis as well. I've heard stories about clients complaining about the taxi drivers being rude and inconsiderate. So far, I haven't encountered any problems while riding the taxi cabs. I find the taxis more convenient for door-to-door service and for getting to your destinations quickly and on time. And it's even easier for me to board the taxi than the Access bus because of the stairs. When I get picked up by the taxi, I simply get on, give a simple hello, how are you, and get off at my destination. On the other hand, I've had several bad experiences with some drivers from the MTS buses. There's one particular issue that's been bothering me ever since I started using their transportation services, and it relates to my accident 7 years ago. I've noticed that on several occasions, the MTS Access drivers would have their big lunch boxes and bags right next to them at all times and blocking the pathway to walk up and down the stairs. Those huge bags take a lot of space, reducing the path to walk to get to the seats. These photos are from 2 different drivers on separate days. I took the photos right after taking a seat and putting on my seatbelt, meaning that the drivers didn't bother to move their bags prior to letting me get on the bus. I have cerebral palsy, which causes me to walk with an awkward gait and poor balance. It's hard for me to control my body movements, and having to dodge items laying on the floor makes it a safety risk. I have to be extra careful when taking my steps not to kick their bags or stumble with the straps. The drivers do not need to have their bags right next to them while they're driving and picking up clients. There are other clients that wear braces on their feet and need enough space to take their steps. Other clients that are blind and or use a cane could easily get caught in the bags and the straps on the floor. I really think that this should be considered as a safety concern for all clients. And that's the end. There were also 2 pictures of bags blocking the entryway or in the entryway portion that Viri was referring to in this document.
Thank you, Debbie and Ms. Salgado, for your comments. I'm sure that MTS will be following up with some of the communication regarding those situations, and I thank you for sharing your feedback and experience with us. I want to ask if for the other public comments, if we could please try to keep them to about 1 minute. We do have a limited time frame today for the meeting. I see that we have another comment from Sharon Beckus.
Hi, thanks for the time. I did want to compliment MTS Access. I got an automatic recording on my phone saying that now because of the COVID, there'll be maybe 2 people on the buses and stuff. So I really like that was already in place and by phone. I want to commend them for that. The other issue I'm having trouble with, though, is I'm having trouble getting bus schedules because the buses do not have them they are not carried on the buses. I have to call to get a bus schedule mailed to me. And the only bus schedules I have are pre-COVID. So the times have slightly altered. And so when they send them to me, they're sending me the old ones. I already have the old ones. And I'm being told that they aren't printing any new ones. And when they do, customer service is fabulous. Trust me, I love these people. When I asked them for a printed copy, they printed on 8.5 by 11 sheet. I can't read that. That's too small a font. So when are we going to get more schedules? Bottom line.
Thank you, Sharon. Are there any other public comments? Okay, I don't see anyone raising their hand. The next item we have is the SANDAG staff report. Lisa?
Thank you, Megan. This is Lisa again. And I've got a pretty big staff report, so bear with me here. First off, Antoinette Meyer, the SANDAG Director of Mobility and Innovation, forwarded an email to me from the National Aging and Disability Transportation Center. They have launched a national equity, diversity, and inclusion transportation survey. If you're interested, let me know, and I can forward that link to you. Secondly, SANDAG and Caltrans invite you to participate in an upcoming virtual public workshop for the Central Mobility Hub and Connections Comprehensive Multimodal Corridor Plan. The Central Mobility Hub and Connections Comprehensive Multimodal Corridor Plan will propose innovative transportation solutions to transform the way people and goods move in the area of San Diego International Airport and the surrounding communities, focusing on the proposed development of the Central Mobility Hub. During the workshop, initial concepts for the Central Mobility Hub will be presented. The workshop will be held tonight from 6 to 7:30 p.m. More information is available at sandag.org/CMCP, or if you got the e-blast I sent earlier this week, there's more details there as well. And then is Zach Rivera here?
Yes, hi Lisa.
Okay, Zach, do you want to do your
Sure.
your speaking points?
Sure, very good. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for attending this joint meeting. I'm Zach Riveros, project manager of the Specialized Transportation Grant Program for SANDAG. For those of you that are on the call and maybe unfamiliar with the grant program, the SANDAG Specialized Transportation Grant Program funds projects that provide transportation services to seniors and individuals with disabilities whose mobility needs cannot be met by conventional transit. The STGP is comprised of the Federal Transit Administration Section 5310 program and the local Transnet funded Senior Mini Grant program. And this update is about the call for projects, the Cycle 11 call for projects, which is a competitive process to distribute STGP funding. So just a recap on where we are in the process and where we're going. So we're in the midst of the Cycle 11 call for projects, a process that started about this time last year with the development of the Cycle 11 evaluation criteria. Now, after project proposals were received, reviewed for eligibility, and evaluated, the draft funding recommendations will be presented to SANDAG policy advisory committees. So staff presented the draft senior mini grant funding recommendations to the Independent Taxpayer Oversight Committee yesterday, and then we'll present to the Transportation Committee on March 19th, and then to the board of the SANDAG Board of Directors on March 26th with the full funding recommendations of the Cycle 11 call for projects. So these projects are estimated to start no sooner or no later than July 1st, pending board approval. All this information that I just described is available on the Cycle 11 webpage. So if you go to sandag.org/STGP Cycle 11, there'll be more information on the call for projects. Also linked through that webpage is more information on the Specialized Transportation Grant Program, which is a great program, if I might say so myself. So As a result of the Cycle 11 call for projects, gets a little in the weeds, but I want to share with everyone so everyone knows what's going on. One of the requirements of the Section 5310 program is that 55% of the Section 5310 funding go towards traditional projects, such as accessible vehicle purchases and mobility management programs. Due to the results of the Cycle 11 call for projects, there were fewer grant requests for traditional projects than there was funding restricted to traditional projects. So therefore, SANDAG will release a supplemental call for projects for the remaining Section 5310 funding available. So providers that are on this call, be on the lookout for that. Additionally, SANDAG will be releasing a solicitation to distribute 6 Class C buses returned to SANDAG through the grant program. There's no match requirement for the solicitation, so encourage providers to apply, and those application materials will be posted on the STGP website. I've got 2 more things, and I'll turn it back to Lisa. So first thing, there are now 2 fundings, COVID-19 related funding provisions that include Section 5310 additional funding. So first, it's the Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act that was signed into law December 27th, 2020. And then more recently, as of the last week, the COVID-19 relief bill. Both measures include about $412,000 apportioned to the region. So this is all very new. It's coming, like the last one is within the last week. So SANDAG is still gathering more information from the Federal Transit Administration on these COVID funding measures. A lot is still to be determined, but as soon as we get clarity on that information, we will provide updates and provide updates also via the STGP webpage. So that concludes my lengthy staff report, and I welcome any questions you guys might have. And I'll turn it over to Lisa.
Were there any questions for Zach? Because I have one more thing.
I don't see any questions or any hands raised, Lisa.
Okay, so just one more thing. I recently spoke with Erica Espinoza Ariza, who is a graduate student at SDSU and an intern here at SANDAG. And she is working with a group of fellow students on her master's capstone project. The project seeks to understand public perceptions of equity, safety, and surveillance across the San Diego metropolitan transit system. Their research method involves conducting one-on-one interviews with key stakeholders in the San Diego community. This data will be used in their final report, which has been commissioned by Council Member Monica Montgomery Stepp's office, and will be used to inform future conversations about MTS's transit security and enforcement policies. I let her know that I thought STAC members would be interested in participating in the interview, which can take place via phone or Zoom and lasts approximately 45 minutes to an hour. Information and responses will remain confidential. So if you're interested, please let me know and I can get you in touch with Erica. And that was it, unless Brian, I don't know if you had anything.
I was just going to quickly announce that MTS's board this morning did approve recommendations to forward to the SANDAG Transportation Committee on the fare changes. SANDAG's Transportation Committee, I'll be taking that item on April 2nd and then April 16th. It's a little different than what I presented to at the last STAC meeting. It's essentially the proposal is including the new Pronto best fare capping capabilities, lowering the youth one-way cash fares. The new thing now is adding in a free 2-hour transfer that's included with your one-way ticket, and no increases. So I think that's made everyone happy, and we're all looking forward to that. So thanks for listening and providing comments at our last meeting. And we'll be following up at the Sandag Transportation Committee in April. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Brian. I think that's it from Sandag. If anybody has any comments for anything we've mentioned.
Lisa, this is Mayor Sotelo Solis. I just wanted to echo what Brian shared. We had a really good meeting at MTS just literally about an hour ago, where we discussed the Pronto program and the importance of working with our nonprofits to have outreach with regards to rollout and a number of other efforts, and not just, hey, can you send this to your listserv, but actually have resources, financial, to help with the bandwidth and to be able to do those efforts. So I know we are going to get a presentation in item 5, but to kind of help lead that conversation, I think as agencies, we can't just expect our nonprofits to do the work. I mean, great to do it out of the kindness of our hearts, but we need the support to help expand that bandwidth. And if we can do that, we will advocate for you. So that's something really exciting that I would love to hear staff.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you. I don't see any other questions or comments on this item, so we'll go ahead and go to the next item, which is best practices for addressing passenger behavioral issues. And actually, FACT is the one that brought up this issue. So FACT is interested in a uniform code of conduct and process for dealing with safety issues, dealing with issues that would affect both the staff of the specialized transportation service grantees, but also their riders, and coming up with a uniform way of handling issues and working together on coming up with something that could be used across the specialized transportation grantees, so that we can address things in a consistent manner and in a manner that that Sandag would approve of, and so that's something that we would like to bring to this group, and to see if there's any suggestions or comments on doing something like that.
Lisa, this is Jay Washburn, MTS. I think it's something that's a very interesting topic. It would be interesting if we can put a uniform standard to be used in the disability community, so our riders know the expectations are the same across all of us, and possibly even expanding to other smaller agencies, Jewish Family Services and others. Maybe what we could do is see if the other entities in the participating in this meeting were interested. We could form a working group, try and see if we can come up with a draft of a common standard that we could bring back to STAC, get some input, and then, again, in our case and others, it would probably have to go back to our board for final review and approval, but we could start discussions on the issue.
Thank you, Jay. I think that's a great idea. And maybe if we can follow up after and see who's interested in participating on working on that together, and then with some feedback and participation also from Sandag and their direction and guidance. We want to make sure that we're doing what we can to protect all of our riders and our staff as well. It looks like there's a hand up from Scott.
So, sorry, Megan, this is Brian, really quickly. Was FACT and MTS and MC going to actually present on this item and discuss their codes of conduct and rules for riding? And
we decided at our meeting prep earlier this week that it would be best to not go over the individual codes of conduct of each agency, but rather to work on the discussion of creating a uniform code of conduct and something that all the specialized grantees would be able to incorporate into something consistent for everyone. But we do have links, I believe, to all of the the transit agencies, MTS, NCTD, and to fax code of conduct on the agenda.
Okay, gotcha. I will unmute Scott.
Hi, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
So I really like the idea. This has come up in conversations before in some of the other groups that I'm with. I'm with the California Department of Rehabilitation. I would also suggest that in addition to the code of conduct, you might try to incorporate disability awareness training for both for the drivers of the different aspects of this. That might be a really good avenue in order to incorporate as you're developing these code of conducts.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate the feedback and suggestion. It looks like we have a comment from Arun.
Thank you, Megan. Speaking as a STAC member, I just wanted to say that this issue, I really appreciate SANDAG reviewing this issue at a broader level. It has its genesis in some discussions we had with SANDAG, where our perception of how we were implementing our policy with respect to some concerns we had about safety and behavior, and how riders were treating each other and drivers and staff. We were not seeing eye to eye, and that's why we had extensive discussions with SANDAG, and then followed up with a recommendation to maybe have a broader discussion where we don't have different expectations for what will happen with the same kind of scenario if you ride with MTS or FACT or Jewish Family Services, and realizing that MTS is in a specialized category due to ADA paratransit. But there are still areas where we can work consistently together and proactively to have the rider and all of us go through the same or similar experience as possible between different services. And I'm hopeful that this discussion will lead to many other issues. I mean, there are issues with fares, there are issues with, by issues, I mean differences in the rider experience with where we can travel or what the eligibility allows you to do on various services, even though these services are being funded by the same grants and are subject to the same compliance standards. So I'm really hopeful. I'm really glad we're having this discussion. I'm happy, as Jay suggested, to participate in that group, and also looking forward to more work along these lines. Thank you.
Thank you, Arun. I see a hand from Sharon Beckes.
Yes, am I muted or, oh, I'm available. Okay, great. I just wanted to say, I think it's a great idea about the code of conduct, regardless of who's providing the service. I think the hard part, and I will speak from experience, is I haven't been always trained on how to implement something. So how do I implement the code of conduct has to be taught to the drivers, because it's really easy to just ignore it, because unless you have the skills on how to do it, it's challenging to do. It's challenging to present a code of conduct in a safe way. So I just wanted to say that the training is also very important to coach the drivers themselves on how to go about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate that comment. Were there any other comments from members of the committees or attendees on this item? Okay, I don't see any. Thank you, Jay, for suggesting a working group, and we'll be happy to participate on that and look forward to that discussion in the future. The next item that we have is the transit operator update. Would MTS like to go first?
That would be great. I think we'll let Rob lead off with Pronto, and I will follow up with more information after that.
Great.
Okay. Do I have control of the screen? Or is my PowerPoint loaded up? No one can hear me?
We can hear you. I
You
think we're
can.
checking.
Okay, thanks.
I can make you a presenter, I believe. Or can you? grab?
I've got my PowerPoint up if you just want me to share my screen.
Yeah, go ahead. Let me know if you can't share.
All right, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, all right. My name's Rob Shoup. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications for Metropolitan Transit System. Thanks for having me here today. I want to echo Mayor Sotelo Solis's comments. This is going to be a brief overview on Pronto, but this is not my first presentation to this group, so all of these groups, and we'll be reaching out to all of you to help communicate this. This is going to be a massive effort to convert from Compass Card to Pronto, and certainly we can't do it alone. We are modifying some of our outreach contracts so that we can involve monetarily community-based organizations. So that's going to be a big help. But the smooth transition between these two fare collection systems is the priority here. We have to get out front of this. We have to engage all of our communities to help get new cards into people's hands before we officially launch, so that the transition will be really smooth for everybody. Now let's see, can I do this? There we go. So again, this is going to be a brief overview on how the Pronto system will work. A lot of people ask why we even need to do this, so I want to cover off on that. Most importantly, a good overview on what is Pronto and how it will work and how it will present benefits to all of our riders. I'm going to get into a project timeline. I'm not going to go into the estimated costs on that. That was primarily for our board. And as Brian mentioned too, today we did make a big step forward in making a recommendation to the Sandag Transportation Committee on new fares. So I want to go over that a little bit. The easiest question to answer is why we need to do this. And the simple fact is that it's at the end of its useful life. Compass Card the system was purchased in 2003. It took us, Sandag, NCTD, and MTS collaborated on the launch of that. Actually didn't launch until 2009. But anyways, it was designed to replace paper passes. And so we were one of the leading agencies in the country to go to a smart card system. But again, the hardware is worn out. Cubic doesn't make replacement parts. We recognized this a few years ago, and we started to do the process to get a new fare collection system. And Compass was, it was invented before, cell phones were around. So technology has come a long, long way. And it was totally necessary to get a system that operated really well in our new 5G world. So the process has been lengthy. It always is in a procurement like this, but it was really incumbent on NCTD and MTS to find the best possible system to enhance the customer experience. We wanted to talk to people all around the country that had implemented new systems. We wanted to get and understand the best practices that they learned. So in 2016, we had 8 major agencies come to San Diego and do a 2-day workshop. From that, we developed a white paper and then a comprehensive concept of operations. It was a 100 and 200 page document that really spelled out every aspect of the fare collection system that we wanted to implement. And then we took site visits. We narrowed down our list from an RFP. We got 5 or 6 good responses. We narrowed that down to 3, and then took site visits to the cities in which these companies had implemented systems before, Portland, Vancouver, and Philadelphia. And again, the intent of that was not to get the perspective of the technology providers and their sales pitches. It was to understand from the agency point of view, the operator's point of view, the pluses and minuses that they experienced when they hired their technology provider. So after that whole exercise, we did hire Innit in 2018 to implement our new system. If you've been to Portland, our system is modeled pretty closely after their HOP card. And I'll get into the various functionalities, but HOP has been really popular up in Portland. And Init is doing it there. They're doing it in Seattle. They're integrating several agencies in the Seattle environment. They're doing it in Honolulu and several other countries. And they're an international company, so they've done this all before. So how does Pronto work? The biggest advantage to Pronto is that it is an account-based fare system that gives us real-time communications capabilities. Right now, the heart and soul of the Compass card is really your account information is held on the card. And so that requires an interaction with our system before you can download new passes or add stored value. Sometimes that was a 72-hour delay. So with Pronto, all your account information is held in the cloud. It allows you to make updates to your account on the fly. If you need a new pass or if you need to add value and you're already on the trolley, you could do that with your phone. So it really is a great advantage over the Compass card. The other huge advantage is that it allows riders to earn passes as they go along rather than having to pay up front for a monthly pass, which, you know, for an adult, it's $72 a month. For youth and SDM, that's $23 a month. This allows you to add incrementally money over the month, and then you will automatically build up to either a day pass or a monthly pass. You're always going to get the best fare. So if you have money in there, the way it will work is you have money in your Pronto account, you board onto a vehicle, you tap your card, you're decremented a one-way fare. But you will never be decremented in a given day more than the value of a day pass. And likewise, no matter how many times you tap during a month, you'll never be charged more than the value of your monthly pass. The system comes with a great new mobile app and websites. It allows you to track your progress towards toward passes in real time. Multiple cards, multiple accounts can be managed by one person. So if you are a mom or a dad and you're trying to update all of your kids' accounts, you can do that really easily. And then, unlike Compass, we really demanded that the architecture be open so we can allow future integrations. The real intent of this is to put into one system the capability of doing first mile, last mile, so we can partner with the Lyfts and the Ubers and the scooter providers to provide a seamless transition along your journey. Another huge benefit is that today we have about 60 locations where you can buy a Compass card and load new product. We're going to launch Pronto with up to 100 locations, and then we're going to expand that quickly to 400 or more. I've kind of gone over some of the mobile app features, but from your mobile phone, you'll be able to see every trip that you've taken. You'll be able to see how much money has been decremented from your account, so you can verify that. We're also going to have some new online capabilities. All rider classifications will have access to the mobile app and will be able to ride the system equally, so equal access for everybody. But what we really want to do is have an online capability so that people who are qualified for reduced fares can change their account online. So we're looking at third-party vendors that can verify eligibility, and then we can almost automatically change that eligibility on the back end. So your account is automatically changed to a reduced fare. And then we're going to have a whole different website for our institutional partners. Those are cities, UCSD, large employers that manage hundreds and hundreds of accounts. That system is also going to be a whole lot easier for them to manage. Some people ask why Pronto and why purple. You know, being in the marketing world, there are some fun things to this job, and branding is one of my favorite things. But we had a very collaborative effort with NCTD. We hired an outside firm to suggest new branding names and branding conventions. So those are fun processes to go through. But when they suggested Pronto, we immediately latched on to that. It really says what this product is all about, and that's being quick, easy, convenient, fast, and Pronto, that it conveys that. And Pronto is also understood in multiple languages, so that really hit the mark for us well. And then the color is just simply a combination of the MTS red and NCTD blue, but it really is unique branding. One of our goals is to have our cards on those retail malls, the gift card malls. And if you go into a grocery store and you look at that, there's hundreds of cards on there, but I'm convinced that the Pronto card is really going to jump out. There's just not another look like that out there. So we're really pleased with that. It's been a real, I think the community is really supportive of the Pronto brand. Again, the transition is key. We have spreadsheets with all of the elements that we need to accomplish for the transition. The system really impacts every aspect of operating a transit system. We need new fare boxes on buses. We need new ticket vending machines. We need new validators. There's a whole new customer system where the call center is involved. There's ticket office terminals. It just impacts all of us. And there's a huge financial component as well. We need to make sure that all of these components are integrated, that it rolls up, and that our finance folks are happy with the way it works and the way they can generate reports and make sure that we're getting enough income. But the transition is really all about the people. It's about the riders. It's about making all of the contacts necessary to get the Pronto card in their hands, to explain how it works, to make sure that we overcome the anxiety that people naturally have with change. So we're going to partner with community-based organizations. We're going to do mailers to people with registered cards. We're going to have a whole effort to get people to register their current Compass cards. So when the time comes to transition to Pronto, we can proactively mail out those cards. We're going to have a huge hands-on effort to do card exchanges at transit centers. We'll do all of our outreach to businesses and agencies. I think all of you were probably aware and helped us with the Elevate SD effort, but we formed lots and lots of partnerships that help push out toolkits to make sure that everybody was aware of the upcoming change and how to smoothly transition. So, it's a huge effort. We're going to partner with those CBOs and get them involved, but it's going to require lots and lots of help just to help push out the message. Our website is cool. We've got, I'm really lucky to have a staff here that is incredibly talented in terms of putting together really great video tutorials. We'll have those up on our website. Those will be in multiple languages. We'll have closed captioning and voiceover. So we're trying to hit all of the bases to communicate this well. I'm sure there's lots of ways, though, that the group on the phone call today has. Please contact us, and I'll get to Lisa all of our contact information over here in the marketing department. But we don't want to leave any stone unturned. We really want to be successful in this transition. That's the most important part. So any help that you can give us, suggestions, is going to be greatly appreciated. Part of this, so the fare capping system does have.
Sorry, Rob, I'm sorry to interrupt. We have
That's
about
okay.
3 minutes left for this scheduled time.
I'm sorry.
Meeting, so I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
You can, and I've got a 2 o'clock hard stop too, so I appreciate that.
So, but I encourage everyone to contact MTS directly for any questions you have on this. I know there was one in the chat already, and I'm sure there's plenty more. But we do have more updates still to go through with MTS and CTD and FACT. So I'm just going to ask that everybody contact the agency directly with any of your comments and feedback. Jay, if you want to go ahead and cover your other items briefly.
Sure, I'll try to be very brief. Just want to take this up.
Megan, this is Lisa Madsen. Sorry, before we get too far, I think we have until 3 o'clock for the meeting.
I'm sorry, I had it on my calendar only from 1 to 2 for some reason.
Oh no. So yeah, I'm sorry. And I also see a question from Viradana Salgado again in the chat saying, how is Pronto app different from the Compass Cloud app? So I don't know if
okay, so if we have time, then sure, yeah, we can go ahead and go through all of the questions, and we can go back and do the report further. I don't know why I only had 1 hour blocked off. So I wanted to make sure we got to everything, but we can go ahead and take time if that's the time for the meeting.
We may have lost Rob though, because he did have a 2 o'clock hard stop.
Yeah, so I apologize for taking so long. So the main the answer to your question, but the main difference between our Compass Cloud app and the Pronto app, the Pronto app will be much more fully integrated into the whole system. You'll be able to add to your account. You'll be able to manage your account on the fly. Essentially, you'll be able to add a pass, and there won't be much difference. But you'll be able to use your phone on our validators to validate your fare. So there's going to be a lot of improvements. But the real user experience, there's not going to be a huge change for you.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Did anyone else have any other questions, or did you want to go over your last slide, Rob?
Well, let me just say what's coming up. I think that's kind of, I'll just skip to that. Some of this has already happened, but the real important stuff is down here in the June, July, August, and September timeframe. We'll have everything hopefully pretty much worked out by the end of May so that we can start doing some real intensive pilots. Our June pilot is going to be kind of internal, but in July, I'm going to probably be looking to these groups for help on this so that riders can kind of experience the system, report back to us on any improvements that we might be able to make so that when we launch in August, that we'll have a really good system. Our plan, and that could extend, our plan now is to have kind of a 1 month period in which both Compass and Pronto are operating concurrently, but at the end of September, at the beginning of September, excuse me, we really want to be fully into the Pronto system. I think that's all I need to say today, but I'll be back.
Thank you, Rob. It's an exciting development for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Okay. Jay, did you have any updates to share?
Just wanted to kind of take a moment to reflect and review. Depending on when you measure it from, I think in all of our minds, we're at the 1 year mark since COVID really hit our area and changed everyone's lives dramatically for the last year. We, did everything we could to adapt to our clients' needs and safeties, going to single rider trips, enhanced disinfecting of the vehicles, all these practices we continue to do. It was very interesting hearing from Casey and Charlene because their comments, one of the things that MTS has really tried to focus on over the last year, beside adapting to COVID, is trying to put some new innovations in place. A lot of times it's easier to implement new things in smaller groups, and with our decreased ridership, we're kind of availing ourselves of this opportunity. So as Casey mentioned, we've got the online reservation system that we're beta testing right now, and it's going to be rolled out system-wide very soon. We're doing some beta testing with a phone notification system for riders with special announcements, alerts, things like that, like Charlene got. We're also working on implementing a cashless fare system. Unfortunately, the new Pronto system doesn't have a component for paratransit, but our paratransit software for scheduling and dispatching does have a component, which will basically be able to do almost everything that Pronto can with prepaying, preloading, not having to have fare on the vehicles. It'll automatically debit from your accounts, all those types of features. And then now we actually just in the last couple of weeks got permission to add a fourth module into it, which will actually be a app where you can schedule from the app, load your account balance from the app, track and see where your ride is and how soon your driver will be arriving. So all of these things, we've tried to really use this little lull in ridership to put a lot of enhancements and increased service levels and more customer-friendly things in place. So as we all start coming out of COVID and more people start riding our systems again and social service agencies start opening, that it'll be a new and enhanced MTS access that will be out there and available for all of our riders. And hopefully we'll all be, a lot of them pleasantly surprised, I should say, with all of the innovations that we've put in place. And that's all I really have to say.
Great, thank you, Jay. That's awesome. NCTD, Robert, did you want to share? Is Robert on, or is someone from NCTD planning to share? I'm not sure if maybe he's muted.
I see Robert in the list.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
Okay, thank you. Along with what Jay was talking about, ridership, that we're in our 54th week of what we've been tracking here for COVID. Our ridership is slowly starting to come back. On weekdays, our ridership has rebounded 23% over where we were last year at the same time. We're still down 60% on weekdays. Saturdays, we've come back 54%. We're still down 25% over where we were before COVID started. And on Sunday, we rebounded 53%. So the weekends have really come back on the ridership. We're still waiting for the weekdays to catch up. For our software products, a lot of what Jay has talked about, we implemented right before COVID hit. So our Easy Wallet, which is our cashless faring system, has been operational for over a year. With COVID, people haven't used it, so we're getting ready to market it back out again to just get everybody to understand what it is, how to use it. The web, which is an app that's on your phone, your tablet, your computer, you can book a trip. We've just added some enhancements to that web product that at the time you're booking your trip over the web, it'll also give you information on our other services, that if you want to book it at this time from this location, there's a bus down the street at this time, and it'll give you the travel time up on the bus, our Sprinter service, and our Coaster service. So we're just trying to get as much information out to our riders as possible. So we're going to start marketing a lot of this stuff again so we can start to get more people to use it. April 4th will be our service change for our Breeze services. There are no major changes to our Breeze services, so the only thing that's really going to change is the drivers will be doing a new bid on April 4th, so you'll probably see a new driver on your route. We're in the process right now of going through the bid and making sure all drivers are aware of the turn-by-turn for the new route that they're going to be on, so we're going through the training. On Monday, March 8th, the county reached out to NCTD and asked us to participate in providing transportation for the Del Mar Fairgrounds vaccination site. So we started that on Monday. It's free transportation. We're picking people up from the Solano Beach Coaster Station and transporting them right into the Del Mar Fairgrounds and transporting them back to the Solano Beach train station. So The schedule is set up for 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes, a bus will show up to either pick you up to take you to the fairgrounds or pick you up at the fairgrounds to take you back. As of right now, it's projected to be 7 days a week between the hours of 8 and 12. We were just notified that they ran out of vaccines, so for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they're going to close it down. But once they start getting vaccines, the anticipation is it's 7 days a week until everybody gets vaccinated. So I'll keep you up to date on that. NCTD has been in the process for the last year of getting new vehicles. We have released 30 new Breeze vehicles, 40-foot fixed route vehicles out into service, with an additional 46 vehicles coming in the next year. Of those 76 buses, 6 of them will be electric vehicles. As we get those electric vehicles here to NCTD, we'll make sure we market it out. We tell everybody what it is, and we'll promote it through the marketing of what routes they'll be on and so on and so forth. For Lyft, we ordered 52 new Lyft vehicles. We just received 10 of our brand new Cutaways, and the remaining will be 42 Ford Transit vans. As of this morning, we released 2 of those to go in service, and the next 8 will go out in the next week or so. So the anticipation is we'll have all 52 out in the next couple months. So that's good news. Our new paratransit vehicles are all equipped with cameras, both inside and out. So that's something new that NCTD has never had on their paratransit fleet. And they will also have fare boxes. So there's a few other amenities, but those are the big amenities that we put in the vehicles. So that's all I have for now. Anybody have any questions, concerns?
Thanks, Robert. It looks like Sharon has a question.
Hi, Robert. I was
Yes.
thrilled. I was absolutely thrilled to see that transportation from in Solana Beach over to the Del Mar Fairgrounds to get immunizations was in place. I only have one suggestion is I myself, because of the coaster doesn't run as often, I would be coming in on the 101 buses. The 308 bus stops at Pacific Highway. If your bus were to start from there and then go to the Solana Beach station next, and then go to the fairgrounds, you would get the riders on the public buses as well as the coaster bus riders.
Okay, yes, I'm taking notes on this. When the request came out, it was kind of difficult to try to put a plan together where would be the best place to get the bulk of the ridership. So yes, I'll take notes and I will pass this along, and we'll look into it. And I'm sure as this grows and the word gets out, we'll be making course corrections and adding additional service and maybe additional locations. The county has also suggested that they may extend the time for the vaccinations to perhaps 6 o'clock at night. So we'll be looking at that as well.
Yeah, because the coaster doesn't run as frequently, but the 101 bus runs every 30 minutes. So that's
correct.
That's why I'm pushing that way. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. And Robert, in the chat, there was a question from Elsa Caballero about the operating hours. Was it 8 to 12?
Yes, it's 8 to 12. The last appointment they have is at 12. We're continuing to run the vehicle till 1 o'clock, just to make sure we don't leave anybody stranded at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. So we bring people in before 12 o'clock, and then we have a bus just waiting because you got to go in, you got to do your paperwork, they give you the vaccination, and then they're asking everybody to wait 15 to 20 minutes after they get the vaccination before they depart the property, to just make sure there's no allergic reaction or anything like that. So we just want to make sure we're allowing everybody ample time to get their vaccination, be checked out to make sure they're okay, and then we'll get them back to Solana Beach.
Great, thank you. Franco Saavedra has a question.
Yes, thank you, Robert, for all those updates. This is something that I had brought up, program manager with Access to Independence in North County. The senior disabled Medicare reduced fare ID card applications, I had suggested to find a way for healthcare providers to sign off on those forms electronically. From my understanding, currently, patients are having to print that out and bring that hard copy to their healthcare providers to sign off, and then bring that to a kiosk at the train station. I think there's a lot of back and forth with those forms. So giving the healthcare providers a way to fill out those applications online, the NCTD website, I think will be a huge help for those.
And I agree with you. I was working on this before COVID hit. And then obviously when COVID came about, we started closing centers down. We started closing, doing social distancing and stuff. So yes, I totally agree with you. As soon as COVID is over, we will streamline this process to make it as easy as possible for everybody.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. There was another question in the chat from Marisa Lucero saying, is the shuttle transportation in addition to the free ride on NCTD to get vaccines, or is the shuttle the only option for getting a ride to a vaccination appointment for NCTD?
So no, we have two different options. So first, any individual who is going to get their vaccine from their doctor, medical care provider, whoever is going to give them their vaccine, if they show us that they have an appointment for a vaccine and show us their appointment card, we will allow them to ride for free, both to and from their destination. So that's the first free transportation for vaccines. And then the second one is to the Del Mar Fairgrounds, which is free as well.
Thank you for clarifying that. Were there any other questions for Robert or NCTD? Okay, it doesn't look like it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Robert and Jay. We'll go ahead and go to the fact updates. I have a couple updates, and then I'm going to ask Bud, and then we're going to also ask our CAM chair, Catherine, to provide an update as well on CAM. So for fact, we've been providing food deliveries with a partnership that we have with the county, the San Diego Food Bank, and 211. That started last April, and we have actually phased out the program. It had its last day earlier this week. People can still call 211 for getting enrolled in programs that are doing continually doing the food deliveries for now. But as far as the partnership we had, it has come to an end. We also have been doing transportation along with the county for trips to have the unsheltered homeless individuals for testing, and also to provide them with some shelter during COVID. And that's continuing to go on as needed. For fact, we have experienced a really high demand for our rides since COVID began, and we've had our highest demand to date for both referrals and for ride fact trips in the month of December. So we're receiving over 500 requests a month in just referrals and information about transportation, and then we're providing over 4,000 trips a month. That was our higher month was in December, and that was up 67% compared to pre-COVID. So we're also just experiencing how to manage the demand that we have and deal with the increase in the trips that are being requested. We've also been wondering about ride sharing and how the transit agencies and how the smaller agencies are going about the ride sharing issue. I know that we had encouraged our brokerage providers to not ride share during this time, and we have not given them direction to start ride sharing as a general rule yet. But I do know that some folks are going back to ride sharing. So I'd be interested in hearing from the transit agencies as well as anyone from the specialized grant programs about what you're doing with ride sharing, if anyone wants to share about that.
Megan, this is Robert. Back on January 1st, we kind of increased the amount of people we're putting on a vehicle. We're still trying to do the social distancing, but because ridership was coming back and to make sure we were providing efficient service, we're still trying to keep everybody safe. We increased our ridership to no more than 3 to 4 people on a vehicle at a time on the smaller vehicles, and on our cutaways, no more than 4 to 5 people on a vehicle.
Okay, thank you, Robert. Thanks for sharing.
Megan, on MTS, we are still doing single rider. We're going to a 2 rider plus their companion maximum on our buses in, let's see, March 17th. The taxi service will still continue to be a single rider.
Okay, thank you. Was there anyone from either JFS or another specialized smaller grantee that is going through this or has anything to share on that? I see a hand up. Marilyn, JFS.
Hi, Megan. Hi, everyone. Jewish Family Service, right now we're still doing individual transport, but we're starting to have some discussions about, when we could increase ridership within a vehicle. So stay tuned.
Okay, we will. Thanks. Yeah, I think we all appreciate hearing what everyone's doing and getting ideas on how to handle the situation with all of our unique writers and sometimes shared writers between all of us. So any feedback, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about this again at another CAM meeting in the future as we navigate a kind of post-pandemic situation. So thank you for sharing that. And then I think the only other update that I had was 15 new vehicles that FACT is having pretty soon down the pipeline. I'm going to ask Bud to go ahead and give a brief update on that.
Sure. So good afternoon, everybody. So we just wanted to give you a heads up that we have some new vehicles that are in the pipeline right now and should be available at the end of the year. These are basically FDA bus and bus facilities funded vehicles, and they're going to be used to replace some of our vehicles that have met their useful life and are ready to be retired, as well as to expand our vehicle fleet. Based on the funding amount, the new vehicle costs, we plan on purchasing approximately 13 Class D low floor minivans. These are typically the Braun Corporation Enter vans, usually on Dodge Caravan Grand Chassidy's. This may change, and they may be moving to a Chrysler chassis. So if anybody has any recommendations on type of vehicles that may be available in the new CalAct Purchasing Cooperative, we'd appreciate any feedback regarding those. We also are awarded funding to purchase 2 Class B cutaways, which are ADA buses. Typically, we get the All-Star, the Supercraft All-Stars, which are on Ford E40 Grand chassis. But again, if you have any information on some better vehicles that have a nice track record, we would appreciate any feedback on those. Especially the Dodge Grand Caravans, they seem to have issues with the transmissions going out around 120 to 150,000 miles. So if anybody has any experience with some vehicles that are on the Buy America list and they're available through the CalAct Purchasing Cooperative, we'd appreciate any feedback regarding that. We anticipate final approval from the FTA in June 2021. So we'll keep you posted when the vehicles are actually in the procurement stage and when we expect them to be delivered. For those of you who don't know, FACT shares the vehicles with transportation agencies to address a FACT organization priority or nonprofits and municipal agencies that serve the target population. Currently, we have 19 vehicles, which are shared with 7 local agencies. But as I stated, some of these vehicles have met their useful life and will be replaced with a portion of the new fleet. Regarding these vehicles, we plan on hosting a vehicle workshop in April or May to provide additional details regarding the vehicles, as well as the solicitation process for operators. So stay tuned for that. Again, in the meantime, any vehicle operators that have any model recommendations, we would really like to hear from you. From my understanding, the Cadillac Purchasing Cooperative is out for bid right now, so the final models and the pricing is not available, but should be available here soon. And again, we should be holding a workshop in April or May. So in the meantime, if you have any questions regarding our vehicle sharing program, the vehicles that are in the pipeline, or our CAM group in general, feel free to reach out to me. Thank you. And I'll feel free to answer any questions I can right now, but if you have any detailed questions, feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Bud. I don't see any hands up right now, but if anybody has any questions that come to mind, please feel free to reach out to FACT. And I'm also happy to have with us the CAM chair, which is Catherine Manis. She's from the city of San Marcos. And CAM is an advisory group to the FACT board, and it stands for Council and Access on Mobility. And so Catherine, welcome, and please share with us a little bit about CAM.
Hey, thanks, Megan. But first of all, before I talk briefly about CAM, I just want to say it is so nice to hear you say post-pandemic plans. Oh my gosh, we are all just so excited to get to that point. But I've been serving as a CAM chair for about a year now, and I also serve on STAC. And our mission of CAM is to promote the coordination of transportation resources and services throughout San Diego County. And doing so, before the pandemic, we met about 4 times a year throughout San Diego County. And I don't want to lose sight of the fact that Arun, along with his staff, always provided the best pastries. So we are it is a formal meeting, but we are an informal group that likes to talk about transportation and the needs of our constituents that we serve, but we're also a fun group. So Arun, don't forget the pastries when we get past this pandemic. As I mentioned, we meet 4 times a year, but in response to COVID, we actually met 26 times virtually. And through those meetings, we not only talked transportation, but we also talked about how do we meet the needs of food for our seniors. And so we collaborated and networked. I know myself, I had agency down in San Diego that provided grocery trips and shopping and met the needs of some of our seniors here in North County. So the collaboration was just excellent over this past year. Not only did we meet the 26th time, we also added 2 members to our group, and that puts us, I think, close to like 40 members. We added Christy from the County of San Diego, Aging and Independent Services, and then Scott with the Department of Rehabilitation. So if you are interested in learning more about CAM or participating in our meetings, please reach out to Bud or anyone at FACT, and they'd be happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to Megan.
Does anybody have any questions for Catherine or regarding CAM? Okay, I don't see any. Great. So I think that our final item is just the upcoming meeting information. Before I just give a little bit of, well, you can see it on the screen or I can read it. It is Tuesday, May 18th at 10 a.m. and this will be the unmet needs public hearing. Did anybody have any other comments you wanted to say before we close, or anything from Sandag? I want to thank Mayor Sotelo Solis for suggesting this meeting and taking the time to be with us today. And I appreciate everybody's participation and patience with us with any troubleshooting we had at the beginning of the meeting, and just thank you all for your time. And we'll look forward to working together in the future and maybe having this meeting again on a regular schedule. So thanks so much, everyone, and take care. It's great to see everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Hey.
Thank you. Bye-bye.